Well, hi everybody, it's Gail, and this is take two on the Chocolate and Roses Mary Kay Valentine's Day design. So perhaps you haven't had a chance to go out for Valentine's Day dinner yet, but I wanted to walk you through. So if that's the case, then just check out what I'm going to be walking you through. I have it on this side of my face. Now I'm going to walk you through the steps on this side of my face. And I'm actually going to start with a Mary Kay brow kit, and I'm wearing blonde. So let's get started with that. And here is the brow kit right here. It has a pomade for the first color, the actual brow color here, and then a finish up kind of sculpt color. It's like a highlight color that we use at the end. So let's start with the pomade. And it has this great wedge brush on both sides, which I love, love, love. So I'm just going to load the brush. And because I want to have a sculpted brow design here, I'm using this, and I want to have a pretty good straight line going in. So I'm putting a lot of color on right here, and I'm just going to drag it down. And you might be asking yourself, well, Gail, how do you know where to start and where to end on the whole brow piece, right? And you can see my lines right here. So let me just take a minute here. If you were to take a pencil and you go from the corner of your nose to the corner of the eye and go straight up, that's where your eyebrow should start. Then it should end on the corner of the nose to the corner of the eye. That's where it should end. So my eyebrow maybe should come out here a little bit farther. Okay, and then for the high point, you would just take again and go, so that it's horizontal, a good horizontal line from this end of the eyebrow to this end of the eyebrow. That's where the eye arch, that's how you know that the beginning, the end of the eyebrow are in good proportion. And then in terms of the arch, looking straight on, the high point of the eyebrow should go right over the iris. Super simple, super easy. Okay, so let's finish up filling in this eyebrow here. I've switched now from the pomade over to the blonde eyebrow color. And I might want to add a little bit more over here just so it's balanced out. The trick about doing one side of your face in front of your mirror and then the second side of your face in camera is always something interesting for me. So there we go. And I actually like the blonde a little bit more than the brunette, especially when I'm wearing my reds, because I just think that it goes prettier. I like the contrast of the two colors. It's a soft, but not too contrasty. It's a nice soft blend. Plus my hair used to be blonde and now it's more salt and pepper. So I also go with just the coloration of my eyebrow. So the last thing I did was I used the spoolie brush and I just kind of brushed everything together so that you didn't see any exact lines, but you did see the fact that I was using my brush a little bit. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of the white or this light shine, the highlight color right here. And I'm actually just using Mary Kay contour brush. You could use your finger, but I might just use the brush. And I'm just going to highlight under my eyebrow there. You could also do the same thing with a little bit of very light concealer. And that's actually going to be my next step. So eyebrows are done. Ta-da! They look like they match. Now let's move on to our next step, which is going to be my concealers. And I use very light under the eyebrow, on the eyelid, and then underneath, I use under eye corrector, put on my foundation, and then put a little bit more of this on. So this is kind of a cool technique. You're going to like to see this, how this works. Because notice I do have some redness over here that you're not seeing over here. This looks a little brighter than this side. And if I pull away a little bit, it even looks better. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of this very light up here, and a little bit on the inside corner. Did I catch it over there? Maybe I could put a little bit more over there. Then I'm going to use my blender brush and just pat that into place on my eyelid. Ta-ta-ta-ta. A little bit on this side. I always like the inside of my eyes to look a little bit brighter because I'm always in glasses. And then just pat this around. I can bring it up over the eyebrow bone a little bit. You know, this up area here. I have a lot of eyebrow skin in here, so I want to highlight that all up. And like I said earlier, you could just use your very light concealer, or you could use the highlight that came with the brow kit. Totally up to you. Then under the eye, I'm going to use a little bit under eye concealer. Under eye corrector. And I'm just going to put it in a V formation and then pat that in a little bit. Doesn't have to be real fancy special because all I want to do is actually just neutralize. That's what this product does. It neutralizes the red and the purple, any of the blueness that's under the eye, which just, happens. Some of us have more of it than others. Then go back with my finger. If there's any line that's a little bit too much on the blotchy side, just take that out a little bit. I want the color there. I want to have buildable color there, but I don't want to have like a line going. Okay, now, instead of using CC cream, I decided that I was going to use some silking powder. So I'm using the silking setting powder for my skin tone. I'm just going to turn a little bit of upside down. I'm going to use an all over powder brush. I'm going to put this on the side of my face and just kind of powder puff around here. Now I already have my lip color on, right? But I wanted to just show you overall what's going on. Now I'd like to put a little bit, and yes, you're going to go, you're putting that over the powder. Yep, just a little bit. I just want to put a little bit in here. I find that it just helps set it a little bit more. And I want to bring this down to a brighter highlight down here. So I know that looks a little bit goofy, but don't worry, it works all out. I'm going to go back with my brush and just highlight that. I just want the very under my eye to be a little bit brighter and lighter. So I want to just have the illusion of a little bit of a white triangle under here. And sometimes I just find using my finger does it just fine. See what I mean? And if I have a little bit of a line, go back and take care of that. I will finish off with a little bit of translucent loose powder. Now I want to put a little bit more of my silking setting powder over that just to set that. So it had under eye corrector, powder, ivory, light ivory, perfecting concealer, and then I set it with a little bit of powder. That just really keeps it in place. Alrighty. Now our next step up from that, let me put some of my brushes aside here for a minute, is I'm going to put on a little bit of blush before we go forward with our eye design. So the blush, I had two different choices on blush. First, the design actually called for originally a little bit of golden copper. So we're going to put a little bit of that golden copper on. But you know, when I put it with my red, I'm like, oh, that is a little bit orange to be going with my red sweater. Wonder what else I could do. So I said, well, let's add a little bit of wineberry to that. Why not? Just give a little wineberry. So wineberry is my second color that I just put over this just to kind of knock down the orangeness a little bit. Then I finished up with a little bit of translucent powder because, you know, I like it that the color is shown, but I don't want it to be too bold. And I might need to tone that down on this side too. I just want it to come through a little bit. And I like having those two colors on, but quite honestly, I thought the golden copper was a little bit too orangey to go with my red, whereas the wineberry I thought was a pretty good match. And now I'm thinking like, oh, I just need to have a little pop of wineberry right here. Pop, right there on each side. Pop. Just a little bit. There you go. Isn't that great? Okay, now let's move on to the eyes. Ta-ta-da. So for the eyes, we're going to use, and I will provide the cheat sheet with this video. So for the eyes, I'm using 3 Mary Kay Chroma Fusion eyeshadow colors. And then I'm also using, instead of the brown eyeliner that was the original design, I'm using Slate. I just wanted, because I like it with the headband. I like Slate and I think the Slate color goes good with my brown eyes. And I also like going with the red sweater. Okay, so now let's go ahead. And first thing I'm going to do is put on my Biscotti eyeshadow. And I got to get my eyeshadow going over here. Here it is. Okay. You should see the side of the desk. Okay, so some Biscotti eyeshadow. And I load the brush up really good. And I'm just patting this under my eye, patting it onto the eyelid. I'm not blending it yet. I'm patting it on. I want to put a lot of bright color in there. Then I'll go back and just gently blend it onto the eyelid. Super easy step number 1. Then step number 2, I'm going to be using hazelnut. Same brush, but I'm going from light to dark. So the hazelnut, now I'm patting right along the bridge bone of the eye, right up in here. Bridge bone of the eye. And you know, the other thing that I learned from the last video, I was too far away from the screen. So I just discovered how I can change that up. So I hope that you like just having a little bit closer view of Gail as she's doing her makeup. Okay, so here we go. So we've got that hazelnut, and I'm going to put just a smidge more right in here. And then I'm going to put a little bit just in the corner of my eye, right there. Then the last color that I'm going to add to this is going to be my burnished bronze. So it's a dark metallic-y sparkly brown color. And I'm patting that right along in here a little bit. And I'm also going to put a little bit more into the corner of the eye and definitely in the crease of the eye. Then I'm going to put a little bit underneath the eye just to kind of give a smudge. Okay. Now don't worry. I'm still bringing the eyeliner in. Okay. So that's everything. And I'm just blending it enough, just enough. I want the colors to look like they're blending from one to the next without a real obvious line. So I don't like to overblend because then I discover I'm taking the eyeshadow off that I just put on, which is not exactly the goal. All right, now I'm going to move into the Slate eyeliner. And I'm going to start in the inside corner and just do a gentle stroke going out right along the base of the eyelashes as best as I can see. And so a series of little gentle feather strokes seems to work best. It doesn't have to be real perfect because you know what I'm going to do after I get this on? I'm going to go back and I'm going to smudge it a little bit. But I want to make sure that I can see it, so I will make it dark enough. And I'm okay with it being a little bit more thicker of a line. And then underneath a little bit right there, because I do want to frame it a little bit. There we go. Then the last thing that I do is I again go back with a brush. Let me find one of my brushes that I can use for this. I think I'm going to use the... Okay, I'm going to use the little contour brush. I'm going to go back and just smudge this a little bit. See what I mean about that smudging? It just takes that line down a little bit, and then over here. Okay, so that's the eyeliner step. Last step, and this is going to be the new Great Heights mascara. Holy smokes, this is really cool mascara. So I've loaded that. I'm going to start on the inside and wiggling it on my eyelashes. And actually, by getting the inside of my eyelashes, then I can open my eye a little bit wider so I can get more of those eyelashes, because now I can see them. Started to tip them. I went, oh, there's an eyelash, right? And to do this without my reading glasses, and I'm using a 10X mag mirror that you may or may not be able to see the back of. I don't think you can see the back of it as I'm doing this. And then right down here, I'm just really, whoops, got a little whisker on here. I'm just going to wipe my eyelashes a little bit on the tips, right on the bottom, right? And they say that if you give this 3 coats, that you're going to get this great 74% build. And it really does happen. I mean, just real amazed that my eyelashes are building like this. I got one little mascara fleck, that little crumb, little footprint, as I call them. So as soon as it dries, I'll go back and I'll pick that up. And then a little bit down here. I always like the outside of my eyes to look a little bit richer in color than the inside of my eyes. So there you have it. And let's just review what I did with my lips before I finish it up. Okay, so the next thing I did is I put on some red waterproof lip liner, lined the whole lip, colored it in. Step 1. Step number 2, I actually put on red smolder, but here's red stiletto. You know, the red smolder has a little bit more blue in it. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't. So I had the red smolder on. Actually, I think it looks better with my sweater color. And so then I put that on. Then I finished up with a little bit iconic red lip gloss. Oh, do I love our limited lip glosses. And the iconic red, whoops. And when you make a mistake, you just wipe it off. Just put it in the French pout, you know? Now you could do this with any of your lip gloss and just do this French pout. But I absolutely love wearing red lipstick and red lip gloss. Just love it, love it, love it. So that's it. That's the famous Chocolate and Roses Mary Kay Happy Valentine's Day design. Take 2. Thanks for watching, and I will make sure in the down below in the description area, I'll make sure that I also include a copy of the list of the items that were worn. But just in quick review, first we started with the blonde eyebrow kit. Then from there we went on to, now this is the complete design right here. I used, remember, a little bit of copper, golden copper, and then I decided that I was going to use a little bit of wineberry over that. So I finished up actually in wineberry. And then my 3 eyeshadow colors were Biscotti, hazelnut, and burnished bronze. And then to help with highlighting and hiding, I used very light ivory concealer and also under eye corrector around my eye zone. Then we finished it up with red lip liner and your choice of either red stiletto or red smolder. I did the red smolder. And then I finished up with, the last thing I did was my lip gloss. And then, of course, the red iconic lip gloss. And then for my eyelashes, the Great Heights mascara. Oh, and before I forget, I have on Steely waterproof eyeliner instead of the brown. I just wanted to gear it up and go a little bit bolder. And I don't necessarily care to wear black, but I think the Steely is just enough intensity for everything else. And then I used a little bit of translucent loose powder with my blush and also silking setting powder instead of using the CC cream. So that's everything I've got for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for it being Take Two. Have a good one.